on their rate. Well, that was rather late, George. But the deposit on the rate for the Deming law firm is $250 an hour. So I know it's going to take at least 10 hours. But if I have to go to court, because it's 2 hours drive from Atlanta to Columbus, so that's going to be 4 hours right there. So I'm trying to get this settled by phone, and the lawyer for the Table Rock people telling them we need to settle, and they're putting these emails back and forth, so everything's out in the open. I'm sorry for that long story, but I was really stalling until Deidre got on the call. So Deidre's on the call now, it looks like. So that's what's happening with me. So we'll go Adrian, Deidre, and Jennifer. So what's happening with you, Adrian?
Well, just having a good old time, having a good old time, wrapping up this year and getting ready for the next one. That's it. Been working a lot, invoicing people, and it's just, there's so much work to do. And tonight I got to work on my radio show and be ready by sending in tomorrow.
Okay, good. Well, we want to make this as short a call as we can, because it's just my fussy call, because I feel like I'm working so hard and I have a guaranteed monthly income. And now that Social Security gave us an 8.7% increase, I'm in the money, so I don't need to work. And I'm working too hard for SARN as a volunteer, and I'm beginning to resent it. So Deidre, what's going on in your world?
Life happens every day. I'm taking it one day at a time, but all is well.
Well, great. Everybody's being so nice, and I'm a crazy woman. So Jennifer, what's going on in your world?
I'm sorry for what you're dealing with, Teresa. Things are good here. The semester's wrapped up. My mother-in-law is visiting. We're going to drop her off and then pick up my mother and bring her down for a visit between Richmond and Baltimore. So I'm just looking forward to like wrapping up this semester, preparing for the next one, and taking a few days off as well during this next 2-week period.
Well, dear Sister Jennifer, thank you so much for your $100 donation today. So that brought I'm going into the second item on the agenda, which is the Facebook fundraiser. I started the fundraiser in November with a deadline of December 31st. I started out trying to raise $2,000, and I realized that wasn't going to happen. So I changed the goal to 1,000, and we're at 725. So we only have 275 to raise. So the big point is that I need everybody to share the fundraiser over the next 10 days, because on December 31st, it's over. And we will not see the money until February, because there's a 60-day lag with Facebook donations. But in February, we should be able to get close to $1,000 in the account. Some of the money was raised in November, so we'll get some of it in January. But the reality is we're broke. So can people really do everything they can to help us meet our goal of 1,000? I said when we got to 900, I would donate the other 100, which would bring me to $250 donated. But since I have not had to pay rent for 3 months, I have a little bit extra. It's amazing how quick you can spend money that used to be your rent money. But I spent all the money in October. I spent all the money in November, and I've been a little bit better in December, having not spent it all. But I will donate the last $100 if need be. but I'd rather not do it because I've already donated $150 to this fundraiser. I haven't seen any donation from you, Deidre. George donated, I think, $45. Samantha Turner, one of our board members, donated $45, but I haven't seen any money. And you, with all them invoicing and everything, you're going on, Adrian. Need you to go online and donate to the fundraiser and get your friends to donate. Because in January, Adrian, you'll be doing your birthday fundraiser. When is your birthday, Jennifer?
April 5th.
Oh, okay. So in April, we have Jennifer and Deidre. Because Deidre, your birthday is in April too, right?
April the 18th.
Yeah, so both of you will be raising money for your April birthdays. And we won't see that money until June, the money that comes in April. So I would urge you to start raising money in March, because on May 1st, we have to pay Network for Good $1,200. So part of raising money between now and April is to make sure we can pay that big bill. So are there any questions about the Facebook fundraiser?
I was just going to comment. I'm going to.
Oh, can't hear.
Sorry, I'm gonna target some individuals and try to pitch it as end of year, like good cause for end of year donations, and try to get people. I'm disappointed no one has responded yet to today. I thought I might catch some people today, but I'm going to keep targeting some people. And again, use it as an end of year good cause donation, because some people, itemize on their taxes and they need to do things by the end of the year.
Oh, that's a great idea, Jennifer. Thank you so much. Because you have to be giving away a lot in order to get tax deductions, the way the IRS set up the rules. But during the pandemic, they changed the rules, so even regular people can get up to $300 or so in deductions. You don't have to be giving out a huge amount of your income in order to get deductions. So this is a good time of year for people who itemize to make charitable deductions. And so that's a very good point, Jennifer. Thank you. Well, in terms of the WILF U.S. activities, we had the Fannie Lou Hamer branch Human Rights Conference on December 10th, and it really rocked. So they posted it to the WILF YouTube channel. We had it in 2 parts, so that rocked. So I'm going to go around to George and let her tell about the activity of being elected as program committee chair of the Women's International League for Peace and Freedom U.S. section, which is one of the most powerful positions on the national board. There are 2 program committee chairs, and our George is one of them. So George, can you explain to people how you made that happen?
With help is how I made it happen, and with the support of the Black Liberation Caucus, with the support of members who are active on the Advancing Human Rights subcommittees that those of us who serve on that are associated with. I co-convened, I use the past tense, those subcommittees of Advancing Human Rights with Teresa, and through that got to know people like Joan Goddard, a past program committee chair, and other folks who are associated with WILF who are more longer term members. And I think that helped because they may have told some of their people to vote for me as well. The vote count was 218 votes. I was sent that by Diane Blay, and I will be a co-chair along with Jennifer Bailey. Jennifer Bailey is also here in North Carolina. She and I are gonna have a conversation about division of labor and how we will coordinate the role of being co-chair of program committee, 2 each being co-chairs of 1 committee. So that's
well,
it.
George, stop using the word co. You are individual chairs. And as a longtime WILF member, I know that there have been disagreements between program committee chairs because there is no co-chair. You are your own individual chair, and she is her own individual chair. And in past times, there have been instances where the chairs did not work together. I think if anybody can find a way to work with that Looney Tunes woman, Jennifer Bailey, who actually used to be on the SARN board and went crazy on us, and we had to kick her off basically for white supremacy. So that's who George is having as her co-collaborator. And if she can get her to collaborate, it would be a miracle. But if anybody can do it, George can, because nobody, George is the easiest person to get along with in the world. And she deals with crazy people all the time, and she's real good at dealing with people of European descent. So if Jennifer can't get along with George Bailey, she will be the demon and the enemy, and everybody will vilify her. So George, just be strong. You're representing the Black Liberation Caucus, and we will hold you accountable. So I'm glad that George ran unopposed. See, WILF is so weak. Everybody runs unopposed. So in the fall of this year, Adrian, we need you to run. Everybody who joined in 2021 can run in 2023. And we're going to stack the board because there are like 6 vacant positions on the board. There's a personnel committee chair, there's the nominations committee chair, there's development committee chair, which could be 2 people. So that's like the program thing. Then there's the membership development chair, which I'm running for. So all of these seats are open now. So we have to run for the open seats on the board so we can support George, because George and one of our haters, a Black conservative Republican man who is a hater big time of the Black Liberation Caucus. We need to make sure that when his term is up at the end of 2024, that we run somebody against him if he thinks he's going to run again. So that's the strategy in terms of the WILF US activities. The thing that we're hoping that Jennifer can report is that she's gotten to 10 members in Rock Hill so that we have the Winthrop University branch of WILF in Rock Hill. Can you report that to us, Jennifer?
I wish I could. I'm not there yet. Another bit of outreach. I think I'm hoping to use some of this downtime over the next 2 weeks. You know, because you email to people during the semester, everybody's got an excuse of why they don't have time. Everybody's super busy. So I'm hoping some holiday downtime, I can target some individuals, because there's some people who came to some of the Zooms that we had, some of the Black Liberation Caucus Zooms I haven't heard from in a while. I sent out a targeted email for, I think we have 5. Not everybody's up to date on their membership, but all those 5 I know are solid and will be up to date. So I really think there's 5 more I'm looking for, and I've sent targeted emails, but it's been kind of crickets. So I just need to keep targeting.
Jennifer, I have the sign-in sheet from the September 21st meeting where I gave out all kinds of WILF materials. And some of those people who took the WILF materials, I had the fancy Peace and Freedom magazine. All those folks, if you look at the pictures and the video, any of those people you saw, students, because we really need to have students. So all you have to do is gift their memberships. So your department can gift the memberships. We're talking about $105 for 3. I think. How much is 5 times 35?
That's a great idea, Teresa. I never thought of that. All I thought of was that students might not have the money. I didn't think about gifting them the membership. That's a great idea.
That is the way to get them, because you don't want just a faculty branch, you gotta have students. And what about the thing of going to the CSW in March? So this is a perfect time to ask them. I'm disappointed, Jennifer. I know you've been busy, but getting 5 new members in January is an imperative
Okay.
because people are out of school now. But when you come back to school, when do you come back to school? After the Martin Luther King holiday or before?
Oh no, we're back. Faculty are back by the 6th and students by the 9th. But I have some excellent students I'm in touch with even over break. So I will target some of the ones I know attended that event on the 21st. I didn't think about the gifting of the membership. That's a great idea.
Yeah, because it's not that much money. So I think well, how much, do the math, how much is 5 times 35? 5 times 315.
175.
175. So you can find 175 probably in your budget, because in the gender studies department, this will be a perfect thing for them to do. So if you can find 175 in your budget, you simply gift the memberships for the first year.
That's a good idea. Thank you, Teresa.
Well, make sure you make it happen in January, because in March, the Fannie Lou Hamer branch will be celebrating our 2nd anniversary. And we would love to celebrate with the Winthrop University branch, saying we have another branch in South Carolina, and they're joining in our celebration, because our celebration will be on Zoom, and it's going to be an expungement event here on the ground in Columbus. But the luncheon part of it, which will be about an hour, will be the celebration for the 2nd anniversary, and that will be on Zoom. And so you can join, and we'll celebrate the founding of the Winthrop University branch at the same time. So we'll always have the same anniversary date. So we will always be able to celebrate our branch's anniversaries. So in 2024, when we're celebrating our 3rd anniversary, Winthrop University will be celebrating its 1st anniversary.
That's a great idea. Do y'all have a date picked out in March yet for that?
It's either going to be March 11th or March 18th, and it's a Saturday. And so the meeting that we're doing here in Columbus is going to be expunging people's records. And so it's going to go from 9 until 2. So we're going to start the luncheon from 11:30 to 1. And so from that 90 minutes, we will have celebrate the Fannie Lou Hamer branch and hopefully celebrate the Winthrop University branch. And the church has the capability of setting everything up on Zoom. And so we can do Zoom from the church like we did with our Fannie Lou Hamer Human Rights Conference on December 10th. We had the first part on Zoom, and then we had the second part in person. So we will simply have the luncheon part on Zoom for 90 minutes, and that will be our celebration. So it'll be recorded and it'll be posted to the Wolf YouTube channel. So does that sound like a plan? So that will be on either March 11th or the 18th. We're now coordinating with a bunch of stakeholders for this partnership we have with the 4th Street Baptist Church. So they said they have both dates open. We just need to choose the one we want. I'm steering towards the 18th because that's after the 15th, when we will have more money so that I could pay the videographer. So my preference is to do it on the 18th. So we will look to see, and then of course the 11th puts us close to International Women's Day weekend. Since International Women's Day is on the 8th, lots of people have their celebrations on that Saturday after. So those are the choices we have. So I'm just into strategic planning to try to get us to our biannual meeting because there's going to be a lot of changes from my point of view in how SARN is organized. So that's it on the Wolf US activities, unless somebody has any more to add. Adrian, what's happened with the Spanish brochure? You know, we decided it should just be an insert that Darian, the president, says we cannot reprint a whole new glossy brochure in Spanish. So there should be an insert, maybe a twofold that goes inside of the current brochure that gives pertinent information.
Right. I saw that.
So what's happening with it?
I have not spoken with anyone about that.
Well, Adrian, this is what's really bothering me about you. All we have to do now is get a one pager that is folded in half, or basically it's going to be the size of a panel. So you want to get something that's the size that can be an insert folded that has the information on it. So it's basically going to be 2 panels. And it could be 4-sided. So you could have basically 4 panels of information that can be folded as an insert. So
Okay.
you see the picture of it, right?
Yeah.
So all you have to do is create it. You can change, you don't have to have all that stuff that's in the original thing, only the stuff that's pertinent. So it will be a half size, 1 fold insert. You picture it, right?
I got
So
it. Yeah, because the big one is the regular thing is 4 panels across. So that's bigger than a single sheet. Okay. So
that's all that's required. So
Uh-huh.
George, when is the next meeting of the Migration and Border Committee? George, I need you to
I will
that.
look it up and let you know.
Well, we definitely need to know before we end this call, because Adrian, did you miss the meeting on Monday? Or no, the meeting was on Tuesday, the 13th at 6 p.m. Did
Yes,
you attend? Did you attend the meeting, Adrian?
I did not make the meeting.
See, you have to be at all the meetings because you're the Black Liberation Caucus representative, and you're the only person that's bilingual other than Melissa. And Melissa is too busy to do anything. So she's associated with the Black Liberation Caucus too. So in terms of the Black Indigenous people of color, you and Melissa are the only 2 who are bilingual. So now that we definitely have a firm decision on what kind of printing is going to be done, it's going to be an insert. And the Wolf US section is going to pay for the insert. You just have to create it.
Okay, I'll do it.
So you just design it. And when you come to the meeting, when George is going to tell us when the meeting is, when you come to the meeting in January, we'll roll it out and we'll have it all done.
The next meeting is January 10th.
At what time? 6 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay, so mark your calendar, January 10th at 6 p.m. I know I'll be there.
I'll
So
be there.
great. So SARN in Columbus. Well, this is the plan. That SARN as an organization only operates in Columbus. That's a fact which should not be in dispute. All of the bank accounts are handled here. All of the work that's being done in the name of SARN is being done here. So my proposal to the board in January is that we reduce SARN to a Georgia operation. So only board members in SARN will be in Georgia. And the other members of the board will be part of an advisory board. Now, the IRS requires us to have a chair, a treasurer, and a secretary at a bare minimum. All of those officers will have to be in Georgia. So we would have to give up Jennifer as our secretary under this proposal. But this is a proposal to be discussed at the biannual meeting. For the next 6 months, things will remain as they are. We cannot change anything until we get to the biannual meeting. That's when the bylaws can be changed and everything can be changed. So for the next 6 months, we will be in a biannual meeting discussion on which way forward for SARN. Because SARN really only exists in reality in Columbus, Georgia. There's no SARN activity in Atlanta. There's no SARN activity in North Carolina. And there's certainly no SARN activity in South Carolina. The only SARN activity is in Columbus, Georgia. And I think if we get CC Anderson, who has promised to join the SARN board, and she's in Atlanta. So if we could get 3 board members in Atlanta, and we'll have 3 solid board members here, I would say that CC Anderson, she's been secretary in many NAACP things. So we could get her to be the secretary for SARN based in Atlanta. And then the treasurer, which would be Deidre Whittlesey, would be based here. And I'm willing to be the chair until 2024, when I really, really retire. I will turn 75 in June of 2023. So I'm willing to give you another year, but SARN can die with me in 2024, or y'all can figure out something. So you got basically 18 months. So you're getting my 18-month notice. So are there any questions or any discussion about my proposal that will be given to the January board?
Yeah,
Jennifer has.
yes, thank you, George. I wanted to know, Teresa, could you talk through the pros and cons of that decision to make SARN, in other words, to have SARN only in Georgia? Like, are there legal or tax benefits, or is it just that you want it to be a more realistic representation of what's currently happening? Like, if you can talk through the motivation behind the proposal.
Well, it is to make it more of a realization because I am the primary fundraiser. I handle all the bank accounts. Deidre and I had a real heart-to-heart today about her carrying her weight as treasurer because I am the chair, I am the development person, i.e. fundraiser. I am doing all the treasury work because I check on the bank and I pay the credit card. I do everything. And I'm tired. So I'm retiring full stop in June of 2024. I'm willing to give SARN 18 more months. But after 25 years, I think I deserve a rest. So if there aren't any people who want to fight white supremacy and racism that are a part of SARN in its current state, then we just shut the doors in 2024. I'm willing to do it for 18 more months. But if I have the founder syndrome on my back, when nobody appears to care as much as I do for 25 years, we will end this, shutter the doors. See, the Women's Action in New Directions, after 45 years, they shut their doors. I thought it was a strange thing to do, but I could see how people could make that decision, because a nonprofit is not meant to last forever. A nonprofit lasts as long as the issue they have needs to be dealt with. Well, I know that white supremacy is not going away in any of our lifetimes, but there are lots of other groups working on white supremacy. There's no other group like SARN, because we're grassroots, real change agents. So I can point to the victories we have in North Carolina, where we kicked out AMRAN. I can point to the victory we had in passing the anti-sweatshop ordinance in Durham. I can point to the victories we're having here in Columbus, that we're about to pass a reparations ordinance. I'm getting ready to pass an affordable housing ordinance here. The work has all been centered around me. So when I moved from Durham to Columbus, the organization moved with me. Everybody in Durham said that, and I just disagreed with it. But in 12 years of being here, that is the reality. That's the truth. So I can't do it anymore. I'm tired. And at my age, it's gonna kill me. So I have a brain aneurysm. I have diabetes that I have lost control of. My blood sugars are in high swings. I had a blood sugar of 466. My blood glucose has never been that high. And the company that monitors my blood pressure, because I have to check my blood pressure at least once a day. And when they see the SIM card and they see my readings, when my blood sugar, I'm saying blood pressure, but I mean blood sugar, blood glucose. When my glucose went up to 466, they called me on the phone, wanting to know if I need to go to the hospital. I have become so tolerant of these high glucose levels that I don't really notice any difference, except I may get really, really, really thirsty. But I don't feel it in any other way. But what they explained to me is that I could have a stroke. And a stroke would truly kill me, because I have a brain aneurysm clip. So for health reasons and other reasons, I need more people to pick up the work. So all of the fundraising that I be struggling to do, Facebook says I've raised $20,000 in the few years I've been raising money on Facebook. The truth of the matter is I donate so heavily to SARN. Every fundraiser that comes up, I donate big money. Anybody's birthday that comes up, I've donated $150 to this fundraiser. And we have $725. So I am tired. So that's the motivation. No matter what happens, I can no longer do this, because my work has to be toned down. Do you understand, Jennifer?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
everybody.
so let me ask a follow-up question, because I agree with you. You need to retire. You've done it 25 years. Your health is more important. So my question is, for someone like me, I'm in South Carolina. If I could use that fact to help motivate some of my colleagues to say, look, Teresa Alameen done this for 25 years. She's about to retire. is SARN gonna die with her, or are we gonna save SARN? I like the idea of using that to motivate people across multiple states, then narrowing the image narrowing the target to Columbus, because I can't motivate as many people in Columbus. But I feel like
Well,
if we use
Jennifer,
your help to motivate across state,
Jennifer,
you know what I'm saying?
let me just be frank with you. Weeks ago, Russell Cody and I met, and he emailed you to find out what would be a good date for the three of us to talk about building SARN in South Carolina. We haven't heard from you yet. So I think,
that
Jennifer,
email, but I'll look for it.
well, no, Jennifer, as much as you would want to, when you look at your schedule and your life, you are overloaded in your professional career.
That's true.
Unless you can actually recruit other board members in South Carolina. If you recruited, see, the goal is to have 5 board members in every state. We have 5 board members in Georgia. We don't have but 1 real board member in North Carolina. And the 2 board members that are claiming to be board members in Durham have never done a damn thing. We have 2 board members in South Carolina, that's you and Russ. So the only way you can prove to me that that would be real is that if you can recruit 3 other board members in South Carolina. That was the conversation that Russell and I were gonna have with you, because we need board members in Columbia. We need a board member possibly in Greenville. So in terms of South Carolina, there's a lot of potential, but not having a board member in the capital city is a problem. We have a board member in Atlanta, and that's Adrian. We're getting ready to add another board member in Atlanta. So we'll have 2 board members in Atlanta, and we have 3 board members in Columbus. One of them, I'm getting ready to kick him off the board, and I'm adding another board member who is a real strong activist here. And I asked him to join the board the other day. He's a pastor and a real estate agent, and he's in his 30s. So I am a recruiter. So what we need are other board members to recruit. I've recruited a board member in Alabama where we haven't had one yet. So I'm still recruiting board members. But in June, everybody who's not in Georgia may become an advisory member of the board. It's not like you're gonna go away, but in terms of the official operations of an organization, they'll be restricted to Georgia until the other states start to do something. It's not a forever thing, but in the current situation, I would say for the 5 years from 2024 to our 30th anniversary, which would start in 2028, because we started in 1998. So in 2028 and 2029, we'll be celebrating the 30th anniversary of SARN. I will be board chair emeritus. So this will give me a permanent seat on the board when I retire. But I will be able to come to board meetings, but I won't be chairing board meetings. I'll just be like a guest at the board meetings. So I will still be engaged, but I won't have any bank accounts I'm dealing with. All the cards that are in my name will be cut up. All the cards will be in Deidre's name. That's the plan. So think about it, because it's a proposal to be made to the January full board. And I will simply report that we discussed this at the admin meeting in December. Of course, we are in no position to make a decision, and the other admin members can say what they think about it, but you can't make me stay. And so that's the situation, Jennifer.
I hear you, and I want to hear what my colleagues think. I just want to say that I've never tried to recruit members to the SARN board, so this will be a first. I almost think it would be easier to recruit members to SARN than to recruit members to WILF because of what SARN represents and that history and your legacy. So I'd like an opportunity to try, and I thank you. I'm sorry if I missed an email from Russell, but I will try. And you're right, the organization, you can't single-handedly save SARN. It's got to be, we've got to all do our part if SARN is going to last after your retirement. I thank you for the charge and the challenge, and I want to at least try. That's all. That's what I can say.
Jennifer, I love you so much because in my mind, you're the next chair of the board. See, it takes someone who's thinking like you to be chair of the board. And so you are my recruit with that in mind. See, I always have been planning my succession pathway. So you as chair of the board, if we hire an executive director, see, you can raise more money. See, I have been opposed. I have a bias against foundations, but SARN really needs to be getting foundation money, but nobody is going to give it to an organization that for 25 years has had the same leadership. See, we can raise money over me coming off the board. I know at least 2 foundations would pay for my succession pathway. They would give money to SARN to be different. But as long as I'm here, it is a roadblock because everybody in the funding world knows that what I think about foundations. I tell them to their face. Plowshares resist, Georgia tell you. I don't like foundations. They're corporate funds for the most part, and they try to tell you what to do. So I have avoided them so that we could be independent and be the revolutionary nonprofit that we are. When I leave, you can still do good work, but you don't have to do it saying down with capitalism, down with imperialism, down with patriarchy, and down with white supremacy. That's what SARN was founded under me. So it'll be a new era for SARN.
I hear you, Teresa. It's very well said. You're a super smart strategist and organizer, and I am humbled that you would even say that about me.
Well, you're running 2 departments at least. You are clearly chairing a whole lot of stuff. So you are the most obvious chair for this organization. And it's an easy thing in the sense that the chair meets with these monthly meetings with the admin committee. So it's a matter of pulling together a team, a real working team. And you do that every day in your departments because you got all those professors that are on your team. I'm not a great team builder. I have founder syndrome in the most evil way. So the reason I'm doing everything is because I like to be in control of everything. I'm not a good team builder. So I just fuss at people for not doing stuff, but I haven't built a team to say, make sure you're recruiting board members in South Carolina, make sure you're recruiting board members in North Carolina, carry your weight on the board if you're an officer of the board, and you have stepped into the secretary's role, and I just laugh at how seriously you take the secretary's role. No one has been as serious about it as you. oh, did I do something wrong? Well, there's nothing you can do wrong. If you slap together 25 words and say, these are the minutes, trust me, it will be okay. The minutes are for the IRS. So if the IRS said, let us see your minutes from the board meetings for 2020, 2021, and 2022. If we ever got in that kind of trouble with them, we just say, bam. That's the role of the secretary, is to connect with making sure that while bylaw stuff, when we have the annual meeting, the biannual meeting, you will be basically running the biannual meeting, because the secretary decides on what are the bylaws changes that people are offering. So people will start offering bylaws changes in March and April. And by the end of May, all the proposed bylaws changes have to be in. And then when we vote at the end of June on the bylaws changes, the secretary conducts the vote. So it's not that hard. Nothing is that hard. We meet every 2 years in these kind of meetings to change the board and to change the bylaws. Otherwise, we're just having the quarterly meetings or whatever. So it's a very light duty volunteer thing. The people who work the hardest are those of us who meet monthly. And the meetings are always only 1 hour, except when Teresa Elamine loses track of time and she gets this far with her talking crap. So let's adjust the agenda because we have 9 minutes left. So George Friday, as meetings coordinator, we will put off to the full board meeting in January. And I will be working with George on coming up with her own self-evaluation, because George and I have been having a rough time because I felt like I have to tell George everything to do about setting up meetings, like today's meeting. I learned from George this morning that none of you had registered. She said, nobody's registered. And I'm like, I registered. I said, well, if nobody's registered, just send out the meeting ID so everybody could come to the meeting. But I have the meeting ID because I registered. So it's those kinds of things that have been happening with George, her forgetting about certain things. But George is not only doing the SARN meetings, because George and I are sister friends. George has helped me with all the will stuff as well. And I have been taking George out of the will stuff. And so George needs to have her workload lightened. And she needs to realize that she's got to learn to say no. Because I'm so stressed out, I lean on George heavily. Just in the spirit of full transparency, George is in my will. So I treat George as if she is my blood sister. So what I'm saying about George now is stuff that she and I have talked about. And George knows that she's like my blood sister. When I die, George is gonna have a nice little piece of change, because I got $42,000 in life insurance policies, and I have absolutely no family. Most of the money was going to go to SARN, but I don't think SARN is going to exist. So the money will go to my friends. And George is the best friend you ever want to have. Do you hear me? So on the biannual meeting location, we are not doing Highland. We are doing Project South in Atlanta. And I've already put in a request because we can't afford Highland. So we're going to have a 1-day meeting on a Saturday, June 24th. will be our biannual meeting. We can conduct all the business we need to conduct in one day. So if y'all decide that you want to come in on Friday and spend the night in Atlanta, based on the lack of money we have, you'll pay for your own hotel. I will drive to Atlanta on Friday, the 23rd, and I will stay in Atlanta through my birthday, probably. My birthday is June 27th. So I will give myself a party vacation in Atlanta while I'm raising money for SARN, because my birthday fundraiser is going to raise over $750. I'm going to set a goal for $2,000 for my birthday fundraiser for SARN. And I'm going to spend my whole time in Atlanta celebrating my birthday on my own money because I have enough money to have a nice birthday celebration. I've been saving money all year. So I would treat myself to a nice extended stay hotel in Atlanta. So I do have a plan, but that is the date. Now, at the board meeting in January, it will be discussed whether my proposals are accepted or not. So what I need you to do before we hang up in the next 4 minutes is to pick some dates. Can you still hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, look at your January calendar because we want to pick a board meeting for after Martin Luther King holiday. So because we get our new money on January 15th. So we have to pick a date that's after January 15th. And most people seem to be okay with Tuesdays. So today is Wednesday. So we could offer the dates of, I'm looking at the January calendar. So we can offer the dates of actually the 17th, the 24th, or the 25th. So there are 3 dates open. Which ones are you available for?
January 17th for sure. Do you want to leave off the 18th as an option? That's that Wednesday of that week. Is that not good for you?
Not good. I'm booked on the evening of the 18th.
Okay, so 17, 24, 25. Right now, I seem free on all 3 of those dates.
Okay, what about you, Adrian?
I'm good for the 17th and the 24th, but not the 25th.
Okay, what about you, Deidre?
17th is good for me as well.
Are you available also on the 24th?
I know the 17th, but I'm not sure. I'm driving, so the 24th, I'm not certain, nor the 25th. That's why I stuck with the 17th.
Well, George, when you send out the message to the entire board, since you're our meetings coordinator, you need to send out the message in as soon as possible before the end of the year, that the January board meeting of SARN is proposed for the 17th or the 24th. What's your pleasure? The preferences, and let people know the preferences for the 17th.
Okay.
So as meetings coordinator, that's your role. Send out the message to the entire board. I will let Etta Lamb know because she doesn't do internet, but she's going to be coming off the board at the biannual meeting. See, there, she's a person I didn't name who's here in Columbus, but she's on the board. So we have Etta Lamb, and she's good at showing up at meetings, but she doesn't have a mobile phone. She doesn't do internet. She doesn't have email. So I'm constantly tracking her down to participate. When you do get her, she shows up and she acts like a real board member at an event. But in terms of being able to communicate with her through technology, she just won't use it. So I told her today when we were together that she's coming off the board in June. So we do have our meeting all set. We have the January board meeting offer to give. So I would say, dear sisters and my brother, we're ready to adjourn if there is no other business to come before the board. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any objections from you, Deidre?
No objections.
Okay, no objections. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. So this board meeting is adjourned at exactly 8 p.m. I love you all. So I will talk to you in January, if not sooner.
Bye.
Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you,
Happy
Teresa.
holidays.
Happy holidays. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah, because Hanukkah started already. So
Yes.
love you all.
Love you, Teresa. Thank